Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video.
40M, my wife, 38F, cheated on me and destroyed our family. Is it normal to be worried about her? Weird title, I know. I was cheated on, publicly, by my wife of almost 20 years. Why would I feel sorry for her? I should be angry, bitter, jaded, everything but sympathetic. Here is my story. I was in a marriage of 15 years with my now ex-wife. We met as teens and loved each other. She was kind, funny and chilled out. I was from a lower class background, and we worked together to build a very decent life for ourselves and our children. We bought property, established great careers and traveled the world. She never criticized me, we never argued, nothing. She treated me like a king and I treated her like a queen, at least I hope I did. Then she joined a gym in North California. She begged me to come with her, but I was too preoccupied with work and other commitments and encouraged her to go alone. She was determined to lose the pregnancy weight she had gained with our last child. She was lean for the entire relationship, so I think the weight made her self-conscious. She started going to the gym every day. All seemed well for the first 6 months or so. Then one day she came home and told me that one of the male personal trainers had offered her a free session and asked if was okay with it. I said yes and she went. She then told me that she was going to do a 30-session transformation package with him. I was still cool with this. Bear in mind, we had never so much had an argument in our entire marriage. I never had a reason not to trust her. A few sessions in, I started to notice changes in her, the way she talked, walked, styled her hair, dressed. It was shocking. 3 months later, she told me that she had developed feelings for her trainer and wanted to separate. I couldn't believe what she was saying. I couldn't recognize the woman in front of me. It was almost like he put a spell on her. The words she was saying, her energy, the look in her eyes, I could not recognize her. The woman I had known since we were kids. I fought for her at first, but it was clear that she was going to pursue this man. So I agreed to separate. She went into a relationship with this guy. About 6 months in, I started seeing more changes in her. She became withdrawn, frightened and had started putting a ton of weight. Her mental health had deteriorated quite significantly. I then discovered that the man had been threatening her for money, blackmailing her with intimate images and had asked her to sign over one of our homes to him to avoid him going public with her affair with him. I put affair in quotations, because I knew about him and she had been pretty upfront about the entire thing. She had audio of these interactions, so I know it is true. She even told me that he had been sexually abusive. She had already given him a good amount of money by the time I had found out about this. I told her to go public with her relationship with him to take away his leverage and cut ties. Which she did. We later found out that the guy has an extensive criminal history and has done similar things to women before. I was angry for a long time. This happened 2 years ago, and I stopped talking to her for a while. She went into a deep depression and ended up in a facility for a short period. She was unfit to work, gained 100 pounds and stopped leaving her home. 2 years on, I can truly say I have moved on from it all. I don't hate my ex-wife, I am okay with how our marriage ended and I am ready to look for love. I am in great shape, my finances are great and I am pretty happy. My ex-wife is still in a poor state. We are friends and despite all these issues she has picked up, co-parent well together. My feelings have changed from anger to sympathy. I had a look at all of her messages and, not that it's in an excuse, but I can see that the guy really worked her. And I feel some sadness for her. I doubt she will move on from this. Should I help her? Story 2. I, 25M, got cheated by my first and only girlfriend, 24F, of 4 years. I'm lost and don't know what to do. First of all, this a throwaway account for privacy reasons. Second, English is not my native language and I hope reading this won't be a nightmare. Lastly, I'm considered by many to be somewhat of an apathetic person. This is my attempt to let things out instead of distracting myself from the situation, but I'll appreciate every single one of you giving me feedback of any kind. I'll try and summarize our relationship to this day. We met when we were 18 to 19 and immediately fell in love. We both were in a bad place and the relationship just sparked our life just when we needed it. This was our first relationship and we discovered together all the beautiful things about it being a couple. We had great communication, and did everything together. 2 years into the relationship, we had the chance, and we moved together to a small condo, and were very happy about it. After a year or so, I needed to move in order to study at the university, and we had to separate in terms of living together. From there, everything went bad. I invested everything into studying, and got great results in return. I'll have to admit, I didn't give her the affection and attention she deserves. She's a beautiful person, in and out, and I love her very much. But in the last year, we couldn't talk. We would fight on every little thing, and sometimes we had big arguments which led to not speaking for days. This was a new thing since we always managed to sort things out quickly and get back together. It's time to mention we both came from religious families, and didn't have any experience with the other sex, not even friends. We had to evolve together and break many habits and views we got from religion and our environment. A year after dating, we both went to different places with many people and had our first experience of friendship with the opposite sex. We had some tension about it, and had to review our boundaries once in a while, but generally we didn't have many problems. In the last year, she moved to my city and went to live with 2 male roommates. Something we would never dream about a few years back, but I was ready to trust her. I helped her with setting up the apartment and everything, and she found a nice place to work. As said, I was very invested in my studies and I neglected my duties as a partner. We would talk a few times a week and had huge arguments, and generally couldn't find a moment of peace. Few months of that, and I felt the end of our relationship coming. I was very confused, since I loved her very much, but felt the relationship is too much pressure on me, and I felt like I'm being a bad partner. I thought about letting her go, but couldn't do it. After a very tough 2 months of constant fighting, she asked to meet and told me she wanted to break up. I was somewhat in shock, but wasn't sure how to respond. I was half heartbroken and half relieved. We didn't talk for a week and I had a lot of time to think about it. I understood that I love her very much, and I'm ready to invest everything into the relationship, including marriage and moving back together even though I don't have a lot of money. I lived in the dorms. We met and I apologized for my behavior in the last few months. I told her she had every right to break up with me, and I also wish for her much better. I told her I'm ready to do whatever necessary to make it up with her and I understand if she's not interested. She told me she'd be interested but she needs to hear something with me. Apparently, in the 4 to 5 months she lives there, she always felt like both of her roommates are into her. They helped her with everything she needed, gave her a lot of affection and interest. I never heard about it. Firstly, she told me she kissed one of them. Then, after I told her I want to know every details, and after a lot of time since she had trouble getting into details, I discovered that they slept together in the same bed while snuggling and kissing a few times. He was naked while she was shirtless. She helped him to finish twice but didn't let him to touch her, or take her pants off. She sucked his DCK once, literally once, and stopped. She insists she don't feel nothing to him. She says she's in a very bad place and feel horrible about everything. She told me she's a terrible person and deserves nothing from me. She said cheating was one of the reasons she wanted to break up, and she didn't want to share it with me and break my heart even more than a regular breakup would. She said it's all a huge mistake from her and she can't explain it whatsoever. I'm obviously very shocked and in disbelief. We broke up a week ago but she was in his bed 2 days ago, again, not F-king, so she says. I assured her that this is the only time I'm going to let her tell me everything she remembers, and she said what I've stated above. I'm really torn, and absolutely numb. I never imagined this is something she's capable of, such a pure person. I know this is not a single mistake, therefore can't be a mistake. She told me a few months back she feels like she's not in a relationship and now I see why. I love her very much and I'm really in doubt if I can ever find something as good as her, but also I can see this is far from a single mistake, and that I deserve better. I want to believe she will learn from her mistakes and we can rebuild what we have, but it feels like a big lie. She said she's leaving the apartment first thing tomorrow regardless of our status, and she don't care about losing money or having to leave her job. She offered to go to therapy and offered to pay for couple consulting. She said she would do everything to make it up to me and asked for my forgiveness 10 times. She said many things and told me she don't deserve a second chance but wishes to have one. Why would she do it? Why would she throw everything she have for nothing? Is there a better person for me out there? Is there a good person out there?